Hi tribe, welcome back to my channel. Ke nna Mapalo Makhu, a personal finance expert and author of that book. So I asked my tribe on Instagram, what is some of the financial advice that you've seen that is cringeworthy, that makes you roll your eyes, that make you feel like, oh goodness, really? So I was reading an article and someone said something. I thought, you know what? I don't know why you're giving such advice. So I thought to myself, if I feel like that, what more about you guys? What is the type of financial advice that you just find useless or makes you upset or makes you want to roll your eyes? So you have some answers and I'm going to comment on those, all right? So the first one is, don't tithe if you cannot afford it. This one, I'm not going to talk about it right now. As I promised, I will definitely do a video on the principles I've learned in the Bible about managing money. So that is for later. Then someone else says, your primary home is not an asset. I get this, but I don't get it. So your primary home is an asset, okay? But why do people normally say it is not an asset? So go back to the definition. The definition of an asset. What is an asset? An asset is something that will appreciate in value. So definitely that meets the definition of an asset, because your home, you hope that it will appreciate in value over time. Then what else is an asset? An asset is something that will give you interest, something that will give you dividends, or something that will give you an income, right? So your house definitely meets the definition of an asset because it will appreciate in value, or you hope that it will appreciate in value. The problem is, even if you were to sell your house and it has appreciated in value, it's not like you're going to take all that money and go have fun. You will still need to buy a house. You need a roof over your head. So it's not actively giving you money. Even that appreciation, you probably want to buy something bigger. You want to upgrade. So you don't really realize that appreciation. So that's why people say it is an asset, but not really an asset. Okay. Then another comment said, renting an apartment is flushing money down the drain. Hey, you know what? This one just pisses me off, okay? Because that is like one size fits all type of financial advice. Not everyone can afford to buy a property. Buying a property, actually, there's quite a lot of things that go into it. But also, beyond that, do you really want to own something, right? Sometimes people just genuinely don't want to own, especially let's say you're starting out in your career and you think that, you know what, maybe I want to work in New York one day, maybe I want to work in London, maybe I want to move to Cape Town. Now you have this property that you have bought because someone said, oh no, if you are just renting, you're flushing money down the drain. And you do what you need to do with the circumstances that are around you. And also, if you do desire to have a property, and owning property is not as glamorous, guys, it really isn't. Then you have to deal with tenants, then you have to deal with all sorts of things. But I think at the end of the day, can you afford to buy a property? Do you want to buy a property? Do you want to own a property to your name? Or you are saving so that you can buy something bigger for yourself later on? So there are many considerations, not just, oh no, if you're renting, you could buy. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. Then another one says, build a house instead of paying a bond. I'll go. Yeah, it's very similar. It's very similar. I mean, not everyone can buy and can afford to build a house from scratch. And normally, even if you're building from scratch, most people still have to go to the bank and get some form of line of credit. Okay. Then someone says one size fits all advice. I think I've spoken a little bit about that. And also with advice, you cannot recommend, oh, okay, you will do this, because people and circumstances are different. So, but I also think that even when you see some type of advice and you feel like, oh, it doesn't apply to me, it doesn't apply to you. It doesn't mean it's one size fits all. It's a recommendation, right? It's something that you can say, okay, this is the benchmark type of thing, right? So yeah, not every piece of financial advice is meant, even for me, not every piece of financial advice I apply. I see what is applicable to myself, to my circumstances, and what I want to achieve, and I go for that one. And then one says, when people say I should save 30% of my salary, this one, it always comes back to your circumstances, right? If for sure you cannot save 30% of your salary. Are you saving even 5%? Right? I think the message here is just building those good financial habits of saving, of investing, regardless of what amount it is. But I will also say this: if you are earning very well, perhaps you still live at home or even by yourself, right? And you can afford to do so, invest either in the stock market or invest in a business or whatever it is that will bring you more even later, then do that, right? So if you're struggling, the whole point is, are you saving even if it's just 5%? Then Chrysia said, filled with jargon I don't understand, or about products rather than benefits for you. Absolutely, I agree with that. I don't like it when financial advice is based on product. I'm like, okay, you're just telling me something. You're not really giving me advice. So I absolutely agree with that one. Then buy a house before a car. Another type of financial advice I just roll my eyes at. Why? Like, I understand people say buying a house is an asset, but I will give an example with myself. When I started working, I didn't have money to go on and fully purchase a flat or a house, right? But I needed a car to get to work because it will help me produce an income. But now this cookie cutter financial advice, no, you must buy a house. I'm just like, guys, just no. You have to take a look at situations. Situations are different. And again, going back to what I said earlier, not everyone wants to own a property at a certain stage in their life. Okay, so as with everything else in life, take it with a bit of like a pinch of salt. Okay, buy a house before a car. Hey, guys, just do what you need to do. Okay, a car gets you from your house or from your parents' house or wherever you live, where you're renting, to where you need to go. If you are working, let's say your job requires you to be there late. Now you have a house, but your house can't drive you home late at night. Come on. Then another person says, I still don't understand why one needs some kind of credit to prove you are credit worthy. So I had a conversation with Pam about this because a lot of people say this all the time, and I fully get you. I also don't like credit, right? But I know that you need it if you want to perhaps buy a house, a car, whatever, and you can't do it cash. So what I said to Pam, the example I gave to Pam, I said, okay, let's say you don't understand, but the example is, if I came to you, Pam, and I said, Pam, you don't know me from a bar of soap. I have never seen you ever. You have never seen me in my life, in your life. And I come to him like, Pam, I am so trustworthy. I am a good person and I will pay you back. Just give me 10,000. Am I not a Tinder swindler here, right? Is that person going to say, is Pam going to say, oh, okay, you look like you're trustworthy. Here's 10,000. No, probably, highly likely that hell no, right? Whereas if I came to Pam now, Pam knows me, Pam knows my character, Pam knows my values, Pam knows the things that I believe in and how perhaps I've been handling money, my beliefs around that. And I say, Pam, you know what? Things, didn't happen the way I wanted them to, but can I come to you right now and just borrow 10,000? Pam is more likely to lend me 10,000 because she knows me, right? She has a history she's seen how I've handled things in the past. Exactly the same with your credit score. You need a credit score because it shows a history of how you've handled credit in the past. The only issue is people go and say, I'm building a credit score. Then they max out everything. Then they get into debt, which is not the right way to do it. So let's say it's a credit card, for example, and you put a limit, 4,000. It doesn't have to be massive amounts of money. 4,000, whatever it is within your affordability, 5,000. Then okay, I'm going to use 2,000 every month. I'm going to use 3,000 every month and pay it back before the interest rate is charged. That is good behavior. It's basically showing that I can handle this. I can be trusted with credit. Because, literally going to a bank and saying, just lend me money, and you don't have a credit history, how do they know that you're not going to mess up or run and now they have to run after you? Okay? So that's why you need it, guys. Then someone says, spend your money on assets first, like building a house instead of buying a car. Same thing, cookie cutter. Guys, you have to be practical about where you are in life. Then if you can rent, you can buy. Again, just rubbish. I promise you, when I first started working out, I was renting. I could not afford to buy a property. Like there was no way. Okay, so it doesn't apply to every situation. Again, also, it's not like everyone wants to own a house or wants to own a property, because also there are costs of running or costs of ownership. Yes, this was a big one. She says the advice given during COVID: buy a house now because the interest rates are low. Do you know interest rates are going up? And this is one of the things that I warned against, because I used to get a lot of people sending messages. Oh, someone said I should buy because interest rates are low. And I was like, okay, first of all, hold up. How does it all work? First of all, the interest rate environment, or the level that interest rates are at, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the same interest rate. Because remember, the interest rate is dependent on you and your own behavior, right? So they're going to take a look at and say, how is your credit score? It's going to impact the interest rate that they're giving you. Do you have a deposit? It's going to impact on the credit, on the interest rate that they're giving you. But further than that, the question I asked, I said, okay, so let's say they give you that 7% that it was at that time. What is going to happen in a couple of months' time once the interest rate starts increasing? Will you have enough? Because when you're buying a property, it's not just about today and what the interest rate environment is about. You have to also have the foresight to say, okay, in 2 years' time, when the interest rate increases, will I be able to afford this very property? Okay, so it's more than just the fact that interest rates are low. So, yeah. Then life is too short for saving. I don't know. I don't think that's financial advice. I think it's people just saying YOLO. Okay. Then don't buy branded material items. Only buy shares in those companies instead. Also, I just roll my eyes at this. Literally. You know what? But I understand where this comes from. That don't be so much of a consumer. Think about, okay, what value am I getting from buying X and Y, right? Versus the long term of, I'll give an example, Discam. I go to Discam, I complain about Discam all the damn time. And someone will say, stop buying from Discam, buy shares. I mean, I need to wash. I need makeup. I need to smell good. I need to be clean. So you're telling me now, don't go to Discam, buy their shares. It doesn't make sense. There has to be a balance with everything else. So I go to Discam because you need products to wash, clean yourself, whatever. And yet I realize that Discam is one of those companies that are fast growing. They are trying to expand into the rest of Africa. Then I can say, okay, I think that's a company I want to invest in. But saying don't do this because stupid. Then this one makes me laugh. That I must read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and she even rolls her eyes. She has like that rolling your eyes emoji. Okay, some of you will agree with me on this. Most of you perhaps won't agree. But what is the purpose of books, guys? Let's start there. What is the purpose of books? To learn new information, to improve the information that you already have. But further than that, books are not only there for you to completely agree with everything that the author is saying. Books are there to challenge yourself and to even challenge the person who's written the book. Like, okay, I hear what you've said here, but I don't agree on this. So there's this mentality to completely dismiss things because maybe someone has said, oh no, that book is trash. But I'm like, not all books are trash, not the entire book. There must be something that you can learn from that. And for me, it speaks to wanting to learn more and being open to learning and eventually being able to decipher what works for you and what doesn't work for you. If you're going to listen to me say, hi, this book is trash, you must not read it, this guy is, I'm like, then for me, it means that you cannot think for yourself. It means that you cannot go and say, oh, I like that, that one I don't agree with. So I don't think the book is completely trash. I think there are some parts that I agree with. There are some parts I 100% do not agree with. So do not be so dismissive. For me, learning is learning. And you are able to form your own opinions about stuff not just hearing it from someone who said, oh, that book is trash. Come on, guys. Then, to cut costs in order to save, it's damn near impossible when living hand to mouth. I think this is very, very important. And I can almost feel the frustration of the tribe member, right? That you're being told to cut costs. Like, what the hell do you want me to cut? There's nothing else to cut anymore. And I can completely sympathize with the situation. But I think sometimes we fail to go further than saying, okay, there's nothing else to cut. Going further and saying, okay, I'm completely stretched, but how else can I bring in an income that will allow me either luxuries or to start saving or investing, right? Because remember, your mind is there to find solutions. And once you completely close off yourself to solutions, just complaining and saying, oh no, but how do you expect me to do this? And like, I can hear the frustration, and I know it's a reality for a lot of people, but go further, ask yourself, how can I bring in some extra income so that I can alleviate my situation? So look at your skills, look at what you're good at, look at your experiences and say, how can I use that to my advantage so that I do bring in some income? I think the conversation really has to go further than always cutting back, but also how can I bring in more? But the caveat is this: you can bring as much as you can and as much as you want, which is a fantastic thing. But if you're not able to manage already what you have, how are you going to, the extra 10,000, the extra 50,000, how is it going to improve your life if you don't have the good financial habits to do what is right with the money that you have? So I think also you have to think about that as well. Then, yeah, again, renting is a waste of money. We have already spoken about that. Then says, why don't you buy car X because Y is ugly? And then she says, on whose budget? I mean, come on. So I think most of you know my view about cars. Like, I'm not a car person. Like, it's just not in me. The only car, actually, we're talking about Pam. I was talking to Pam about this earlier. That the only car that I really, really, really love is a Bentley Continental GT. I even know the interior. But lately, I've been thinking that actually it's almost a very impractical car. Like, it's gonna park, and the thing is, I think when you can get a sense that it's closer, that you can actually achieve it, you're kind of like, but would I really, really want to have it? So I thought, and I settled on saying, you know what? I'd rather buy my property in Franschhoek, and if I do want to drive it and enjoy it, I can hire it out for 2 weeks and enjoy it around there. So you have to take a look at what are my values, what are the things that I do like, and stop listening to people, because some people buy some cars based on, okay, what will Pam think about me? If I show up in this car, they're going to think that I've made it. I'm reading a book right now. I'm not going to show you the title because the title is trash. But it's a good book. They're saying that, we have such a warped thinking around wealth, that we think that you can buy wealth at a mall. We think that we can buy wealth, or we can look like we're wealthy by the cars we drive and all of that. So I think the tribe member here definitely is very clear, is like on whose budget. So she knows that she's not going to buy a certain car because someone says that you should buy it. So you should do the same. Then budgets are for people who earn lots of money. Budget is for everyone. Actually, it's even more it's for everyone. Whether you earn a lot of money or whether you earn very little, you need to budget it, because it's really knowing where your money is going. I'm not even sure if I want to read this one, Pam. I'm going to read it. She says, people with high income telling poor people to save money. Dude, I work just for the basic needs. Again, I think we need to go back here, right? Again, I feel the frustration in the tribe members' voice here. I will tell some of the reasons why I'm not on Twitter as such, because you put out something about personal finance and people will be like, oh, because you're so privileged, and I'll be like, how, me privileged? Where? Because I also remember a time when I had absolutely nothing, absolutely. And yet, some of the principles that I teach right now, that I talk about, are the same things that I used to apply. And I often have said over and over on this channel that I used to earn 3,500 bucks and I used to save 350 rand, right? And yes, I know situations are different, but that was money that was sacred to me, that I have worked hard, I'm going to put it away. So you could say someone who has worked, myself, I have worked to get to here, and I know I'm still going to work even harder and I'm going to earn even way more, right? So you cannot tell me, if I'm here telling you that you should budget, you should save, you're going to take a look at me like, no, because you, and I started practicing these principles from a very, very little income. So I think you need to go in and say, okay, yes, this is my situation right now, but how can I improve myself? Okay. Then don't worry about it now. You are still young to start thinking about saving and investing. Guys, as we all know, and I've said this, it is much better to start saving and investing from a young age because of compounding interest. Okay, it just works to your very, very best. Then someone says get store or clothing accounts to build a credit record. I think we kind of spoke about, you know, how to build a credit record responsibly. Always go for something that doesn't charge like super high interest, although most of these things do so. Okay. Then you need to buy a house now because things are getting expensive. But I know I'm not ready. You know you're not ready. You know that you financially not ready, and maybe you have other plans. So again, it's just advice that people say and want everyone to apply. It doesn't make sense. I hate this one. I hate this one. Also, I roll my eyes at this one. Don't buy it if you can't afford to pay it for. If you can't afford to pay for it 2 times or 3 times. I'm like, seriously. I think it was Jay-Z who said this. And I mean, Jay-Z is Jay-Z, guys. We are normal people. All right. You cannot tell me that I cannot buy my house because I can't afford to buy it twice. That's ridiculous. Yes, I can't afford to buy it twice because I went to the damn bank. You can't tell me that, oh, I can't buy, I don't know, a car to get me from point A to B because I can't afford to buy it. That is rubbish, man. Come on. I think it talks about, like, maybe simple things. No, actually, that's just rubbish advice. Dude, it's just rubbish. For me, I think really at the end of the day is just be mindful of what you spend your money on. I think if it was that, then it's more accurate. Don't tell me, no, I can't. I mean, my laptop, I don't want to buy it. Maybe I can buy it twice. I can kind of buy it twice now. Yeah. But do spend mindfully. I mean, I need a laptop. I'm going to need to get a laptop, right? So yeah, some advice really just from the get-go. It's just okay, I think I've read the other one. I think I've gone through most of them, Pam. Yeah. All right, tribe. So I hope I have clarified some of the other financial advice that makes you roll your eyes. Let me know also in the comments what are some of the things or something maybe now you think about differently from having this talk with you today. Please do remember to subscribe and like the video, and I will see you soon.